I'm Jake Sanderson.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you, and make sure to get your Send Shuttle tickets, $17 round trip to and from the CTC. There's a special bus going to the PWHL game at the CTC in early December, and they also have tickets to give away. Check out their Twitter, Glebe Central Pub, for more. That bus goes on December 6th, Ottawa, Montreal, PWHL game. Check them out, the Glebe Central Pub. I'm Ross Levitan, joined by at Laleem's Martian. Martian was at the CTC tonight, witnessing a 5-4 overtime loss against the Philadelphia Flyers. And Martian, even though the Sens get a point, this one feels like one they let slip away.
It kind of does, yeah, Ross. They were dominant throughout the entire game. I mean, after the first halfway through the game, they were up 24-4 in shots against this team, and they were buzzing. Honestly, every player on the ice was kind of pulling their own weight. Everybody was doing their thing out there, and the next thing you know, you get a couple bad shots against, and you know the goalie's a little cold because he's not facing as much rubber, and sure enough, they hung in there. Philly started stretching the ice out a little bit towards the end of the game, and you know, here we are. We're looking at an OT loss, which is not perfect, but at least we got the point out of it. That's the silver lining. I know they should have had two, but they got one.
Yeah, it's a bronze lining at this point because you're up 2 goals with 7 minutes left in the game. You dominate possession. You dominate all the underlying numbers, shot volume, expected goals, power play, special teams. They won every facet of the game. They just could not get a save. And I was ready to make excuses for Ullmark if they pulled this out, but the overtime goal is just inexcusable from below the bottom of the circle, basically in the corner. That was like where Erik Karlsson scored the game-winning goal against the Rangers in game 1 of that series. Like, there is no business for that shot to go in, let alone from a rookie who's coming in with under a minute left. Now, we'll get into the great goaltending at the other end in overtime. I mean, Shane Pinto could have ended this game. A beautiful back and forth with Jake Sanderson, and it was a beautiful right pad save. Ottawa throws 37 shots on goal. The Flyers only get 19 in this game. Senators go 2 for 6 on the power play. The Flyers go 0 for 2. Senators snap back 61% of the faceoffs. They get 23 hits to the Flyers 20. Now, give Philly credit. They blocked 30 shots in this game. Ottawa had 14 block shots, and the 5-on-5 expected goals percentage, 68 in favor of the Sens. Like, I guess we kind of have to start with the glaring weakness in this one. What did you see in the building from Linus Ullmark?
I mean, dude, it was just a matter of him needing to make saves that needed to be stopped. Like that overtime. The last 3 were all terrible. So which one do you want to start with? Because the overtime winner was egregious. It happened right in front of us. We couldn't believe our eyes that puck went in the net. The way it wasn't even a hard shot, Ross. It just ended up kind of floating in, banking off his body, and in it goes. Short side, terrible angle, brutal goal. He's got to stop that thing 10 out of 10 times, and apparently that's not possible. So, I mean, for me with Ullmark right now is you throw him right back into the net, in my opinion, on the next one, because that is just the kind of effort that he needs to rebound from immediately, because you can't let him sit on this one for too long, because that's brutal for the confidence. He was fine for the first half of the game when there wasn't many shots being taken on him. And then I don't know what happened to him, man, because like I honestly can't understand how, you know, those last 3 goals, all of them were kind of soft. And actually, you could say like the first 4 goals were all pretty kind of like almost a little bit similar in a lot of ways, right? A lot of these goals were similar, and Ullmark, he had an off night. He didn't look right from the very beginning of the game either, Ross. I said it pretty early in the game. I'm like, oh, Ullmark's really fighting it here right now, and I mean, it proved to be true. He just had a really bad night. I honestly, let's just get it out of the way. I'll say it. They win this game. if he's not in net tonight. They win this game.
They win this game if you're in net, dude.
Dude, they would have won that overtime. I said that on the way out, too. I literally said, I'm pretty sure I'm not a goalie, but I'm pretty sure I could have stopped that last one.
I just put up a poll on the YouTube page. Who should start in goal on Saturday? We'll check in with the results on that in just a minute. And look, we covered it. This is not a good performance from Linus Ullmark. Smashed his stick in disgust after the overtime winner. And I'm really curious to hear. I know we talk about how sometimes he's long-winded, which is great to hear if you want a philosophy lesson, but sometimes in the postcast, it's not ideal. We will be playing Linus Ullmark's comments after this game when they become available, courtesy of the Ottawa Senators.
I don't even want to hear from him because
I do.
I know what he's gonna like. He's got these cheesy press conferences going now.
No, I think he's gonna be very hard on himself.
Of course, he's gonna be hard on himself. He should be hard on himself. He had a horrible game. What do you need him to say that's gonna make anyone feel any better? No, like they shouldn't even be requesting him for media at this point. Give this guy a break. Like, just like let him chill, let him play goalie. Who cares what he has to say? I haven't seen a goalie in the Sens history who's done more media ability than this guy. He doesn't need to. Like, just let him play goalie. Let him tend the goal. Like, leave him alone. It's ridiculous that they're requesting to speak to him every time. You know what it is, though? He keeps giving them quotes, Ross.
I know. So what? You just want to cut him off?
Cut him off. Keep him out of the media. Like, get him out of the media game and just let him play hockey. That's what we're paying him to do.
We have his quotes right here.
All right.
Do you want to play it or no?
Yeah, let's play it. But I bet you, like, I could pretty much probably predict exactly what he's going to say.
Well, let's find out. Here's Linus Ullmark, courtesy of the Ottawa Senators YouTube page, following a 5-4 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers in overtime.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I guess for the third period in particular, how did you see it play out for your
I mean, we did come out really good. Scored 2 quick ones. And I think what's the takeaway from this is about closing games. And didn't really have the, what's it called? Margins on our side, I would say. And some unfortunate bounces, some unfortunate goals. I'd like to have back, but I thought we battled through, and I think that we deserve 2 points tonight.
What did you see on the goal you allowed in overtime?
I don't know. It's just a standard procedure going down there, thinking that it's closed off, and for some unknown reason it goes in. I don't tell you about how it goes in or why it goes in. Probably going to do that 100 more times. I would do exactly the same thing. And so I was just as shocked as everybody else in the building that it actually went in.
From a team perspective, is it good to get right back on the saddle and look forward to Saturday night?
Yeah. I mean, it's all about having a mind of a goldfish in this league. I'll be pissed off and about this one. It really stinks because I felt that we really deserved this one in the way that we played. And so, especially when you let in this many goals, and it's been happening too much this season as well, where I just get frustrated afterwards now because it happened once again. When I feel like, okay, this one we should have won. It's one thing if you get outplayed, but at the same time, like I said, mind of a goldfish. It's a new day tomorrow, onwards to the next one, and then try to replicate, the good things that we did, because we did a lot of good things tonight as well.
All right, that's Linus Ullmark. We'll give him a break. You can watch the full availability over on the Ottawa Senators YouTube page. Mind of a goldfish is what's going to stick with me out of that one, and it brings me to a direct 50-50 split through 165 votes on our YouTube page right now of who should start on Saturday. Martian, you're going right back to Ullmark, and I'm doing the exact same thing. You signed this guy. You brought him in to be the starting goalie. He's coming off a shutout against the Leafs. Like, give him the net on Saturday. You're playing against the most offensively minded team in the National Hockey League. I think they have a plus 180 shot differential, the Carolina Hurricanes do. So you're not going to be dealing with a guy at 4 shots through 2 periods like you had tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. Really unfortunate, but there were some breakdowns in front of him. I mean, we can get into it a little bit now. Young mistakes. Jake Sanderson not tracking the only pure goal scorer on the Philadelphia Flyers, Travis Konechny, letting him get behind him with 2 minutes left in the second period. That can't happen. Nick Cousins on the first goal completely ditched his man, the defenseman Travis Sanheim. He walked in and shot. And I think the one that pissed me off the most was a young defenseman, Tyler Clevin, pinching at the offensive blue line up a goal with 6 minutes left when your team had just given a 2-goal lead into one. You have to focus on defense first, especially when Travis Hamonic's the other guy back. But that wasn't on Hamonic. That was on Tyler Clevin to not pinch in past the blue line, and he was the last man back on that 2-on-1. So these are teachable mistakes, but it just sucks they came in a game where the Senators frankly deserve 2 points with a bullet. Especially like it's tied after 2, and you're worried at that point that the Konechny goal gives them a bunch of momentum going into the third period, Martian. But getting that power play goal from Adam Gaudette, the second unit contributing, like, you gotta lock it down after that.
For sure. But like, here's the thing. You say you were worried at 2-2. I wasn't worried at all. The way the Sens were playing, I was like, we've got them. We've got them right where we want them. We know how to play against this team. If they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to win. And they did keep doing it. I'm going to go back to it again. It was the goaltending that let us down here tonight. We can nitpick all we want, these little tiny mistakes that happened that led to goals. There was only a few of them, and all of them ended up in the back of the net. So all in all, if we really want to go positive Pilsy route here, because Pilsy's not here to do it, they had a really nice game, Ross. They played so well. I was watching them like, this is exactly what we saw the last 3 games. You know, they're playing a strong brand of hockey. They're on the right side of the puck. They're controlling the play. They're holding possession when they have it. They were looking really, really good, man. They were looking great. And to lose this game is a little bit of a travesty, but it was a tough ending to what I thought was overall for the team a really strong game. And this isn't one of those ones where I can go and say like, hey, burn the tape on this game. Everything was good. Everything was good. It was the goaltending tonight for me.
So Saturday doesn't get any easier, but the Senators do have 5 points out of a possible 6 in their last 3 games. And in that case, they are keeping pace. The Boston Bruins got pumped tonight 7-2 in their game against the Dallas Stars. However, we also saw the Buffalo Sabres win in overtime. We saw the Tampa Bay Lightning win over the Winnipeg Jets. Like, this is going to be a dogfight, and it just feels like these types of points being left on the table is going to be a big problem when you come down the stretch and you're like, okay, we only need to scratch and claw this many points. Well, now you got to add 1 here and at least 1 in the Vegas game. And you're just starting to add these up. The Rangers game, you can say you got goalied, but you probably need to come out with a point there. You're just leaving a little too much on the board. But tonight, these Ottawa Senators did get some good performances. We'll get to our SensCentral standouts. The scoring summary: Ottawa gave up the first goal in this game 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. Travis Sanheim gets the goal, little wrist shot through Jake Sanderson's legs. Didn't look like Ullmark picked it up until it was far too late. Again, Nick Cousins blowing the coverage there to get out to the point. However, Brady Tkachuk answered right back. Great feed from Josh Norris. Travis Hamonic gets his first point of the season. It's Tkachuk's 9th goal, and the game was tied at 1 after the first period, where the shots were 14-3 for the Ottawa Senators. In the second, Drake Batherson, power play goal, great passing sequence between Tim Stützle, Jake Sanderson, and then a one-timer from Batherson, his 7th of the year. Senators go up 2-1. They carried that until 1 minute and 12 seconds left in the period. We talk about Travis Konechny's breakaway goal. He made no mistake, and that's the one goal where you can't look at Ullmark. That's a goal scorer coming down on a breakaway. Would you like to have it? Sure, but you're certainly not blaming the goalie there. 2-2 after 2. In the third, Josh Norris put on this earth to score goals. He gets his 7th of the year. Shabbat and Ridley Gregg get the assist there. Then Adam Gaudette gets his 7th of the year on the power play. And with 10 minutes left, the Senators were up 2 goals. That lasted a total of 40 seconds. But then Anthony Richard, who gets the goal on a rebound on a 2-on-1. It's 4-3. And then 2 minutes later, this trend needs to stop. The 2 goals in an absolute hurry. TSN put it up on their broadcast. 2 minutes and 3 seconds tonight. The Senators have given up goals in quick succession far too often. 2 goals in 3 minutes and 47 seconds against the Devils. That's a bit of a stretch, 3:47. But then 1:21 against Vegas, 3 goals allowed. 2 goals in 1:32 against Colorado. 2 goals in 16 seconds against Buffalo. 2 goals in 2 minutes and 33 seconds against the Islanders. 2 goals in 15 seconds against Boston. And then tonight, 2 goals in 2 minutes and 3 seconds. And the game was tied. Overtime, the Senators had the better of the chances. Batherson almost tucked one inside door there on a short side play. And then Shane Pinto gets stopped with the right pad on a glorious pass to the slot. I want more takes from Martian. We'll get to those in just a moment. But let me tell you about the Postcast, because it wouldn't exist without the Glebe Central Pub. The Postcast is always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. You can find them at 779 Bank Street. And when you go there, make sure to let them know that Locked On Senators sent you, especially on game days where you will get 10% off your bill by telling Glebe Central Pub that you heard about them on this podcast. Make sure to get your tickets on the Send Shuttle. Just $17 round trip will get you your trip there and back. It leaves an hour and 15 minutes before the game and gets you right back to the pub, leaving 15 minutes after from the exact same spot. Super easy. The vibes are free at the GCP. And again, they've got the shuttle on December 6th between PWHL Ottawa and Montreal. That game is taking place at the Canadian Tire Center. Had a great comment on Twitter today saying, are they taking a shuttle to Lansdowne from 779 Bank Street? I mean, that's about a 30-second shuttle ride if you're not in Ottawa and don't realize how close it is. But the Glebe Central Pub is a great place to go when you want to get in on the action with other Sens fans. So head to the GCP where the vibes are free at 779 Bank Street and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Today's episode is also brought to you by Select Quote. If you're looking for life insurance, Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers. They've got nearly 40 years of experience helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Other life insurance brokers offer impersonal, one-size-fits-all policies that may cost you more and cover you less, while Select Quote's licensed insurance agents work for you to tailor a life insurance policy for your individual needs in as little as 15 minutes. Select Quote. They shop, you save. So get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Go to selectquote.com/lockedonnhl today to get started. That is selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. All right, welcome back to the Postcast. Make sure you're following the Martian on Twitter at @LaLeemsMartian. I am Ross Levitan. You can find us at SensCentral. I feel like I just talked for 10 minutes, Martian. What is on your mind?
I mean, there's a lot on my mind on this one, Ross. I mean, there's a lot of guys who played really good games, and I don't know if you want to jump right into our SensCentral standouts or not. Is that what you're thinking?
I feel like we vented for a good 15 minutes there. There was a lot of good tonight. If the Senators play this way for the remainder of the season, they're going to make the playoffs. I'm very sure about that.
Yeah, and I've been saying that ever since I think it was the New York game, right, where they played really well and they still ended up losing. And there's been a few like that where, you know, like they've been right on the cusp of it. But like, these are the kind of points that you need to kind of pick up. There's probably, I could look at that game, that New York game, that Vegas game, and then this game here tonight. I mean, there's 5 points right there that maybe the Sens should have had just based on the way that they played. And that's the difference between being right now probably second in the Atlantic and where they're at right now, which is, teetering on that wild card spot, maybe not even in it right now. So for me, they just need to figure out they're right there. We can smell it, right? You can smell it. Can you smell it? I can smell it. We're right there.
It feels different. It feels different. Like, I'm not doom and gloom Novembers of days past. Like, the Senators will be in the mix throughout the season. I'm pretty confident in that.
Yeah, so they're just, if they can turn the way that they're playing right now into wins that they don't deserve, then we're cooking with gasoline, because there's these games, they're losing games that they deserve to win, in my opinion. And as soon as everything gets smoothed over, I think Ullmark, he's going to bounce back from this. This isn't something where it's like, you're not looking at this like it's Korpisalo or it's Cam Talbot or it's Matt Murray. It's a guy who.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
I was gonna say they need to, he's gonna be fine. I'm not overly worried about Allmark yet.
Yeah, so Allmark had a 737 save percentage in this game. Awful,
Right.
horrible, can't happen. Korpisalo had 4 games last year with a worse save percentage than 737.
That's crazy considering what do they have? Like 15 shots on goal, 19 shots on goal, 5 goals against. Like that is pathetic on a good day. And then for Korpisalo to have that multiple times last year, 4 times, Ross. Jeez.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I
no
looked
wonder.
it up while I was waiting. Horrible.
Yeah, no wonder we were on the watch last
Hey,
year.
let's go full spin zone right now. You rather lose this game and especially get a point out of it than Toronto or Boston.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, when you're looking at the divisional matchups and the teams that you're going to be competing against for those playoff spots, Philly doesn't really fit that bill. So, I guess in that way you are right, Ross. I would rather.
I don't want to be right.
Although I was in the building for this one, so like I would love to see a W. But my boots on the ground record now currently stands at 4-1-1, and I'll take that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. 6 games too, dude. They've only played 8 at home this year.
Yeah, I've only missed a couple, and I'm going to be there on Tuesday for the Oilers as well. So we're going to keep it trucking here.
Yeah, we certainly will. Hopefully the Senators do because you mentioned the Oilers and this schedule coming up. I think that's another reason why fans are really rattled about this one. The upcoming schedule at Carolina on Saturday, home to Edmonton Tuesday, home to Vegas on Thursday, and the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday. But it's the start of a homestand there. You got Edmonton, Vegas, Vancouver, and Calgary on a 4-game homestand before you head to California to take on more teams that you should beat, starting with the San Jose Sharks on November 27th. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We got SensCentral standouts from tonight's 5-4 overtime loss against the Philadelphia Flyers. Lead us off. Who was your SensCentral standout?
Oh, thanks, buddy. Very courteous of you to pass it right over to me here for the first one. It's hard for me to not take the German, but I'm going to leave him off the board on this one. I'm going to go with the captain, my other favorite. Brady Tkachuk, I thought had a very good game tonight for the most part. I mean, I think he was +2. Yeah, he had +2 tonight for Brady. Obviously had that great goal. What a pass by Norris. I mean, you can't leave that out of things when you're talking about that goal. What a pass that was. Backhand. Not an easy pass to make, and Brady makes no mistake. He's been practicing that shot from the slot, man. He's burying those more often than not here this season. 4 shots on goal, which is pretty typical for him. He's going to hit that over 3.5 every time, guys. Throw that on your parlay on the old FanDuel. And then 5 hits as well from Brady tonight. He was throwing the body around. Good 23-04 on ice from the captain. I just wish, and you know what? He was leading, right? That was him being a leader. The way he played, he was one of the best players on the ice all night. I think that going forward, that's where you're going to be able to come to expect out of him more often than not. So I think Brady had a good night tonight. So he's going to be my standout here tonight. What else did he have going on? Just 50% in the dot. I'm assuming he took 2 faceoffs, probably won 1, lost 1, something like that. But Brady, he's a beast out there, and nobody wants it, right? You see him when he's coming barreling down on a forecheck, and you see how fast these defensemen are getting rid of the puck, and they're making mistakes just because they know number 7 is coming. So I like Brady's game a lot right now. I think he over the last probably like 5 or 6 games, I feel like he's started to play a lot better. I think at the beginning of the season, he was probably not loving his own game a little bit, even though the points were still there. But he's starting to really pick things up. So I'm going to go with Brady as my standout here on this one, Ross.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm going to give you one more Brady Tkachuk stat. Going into tonight, the most minutes he played in a game was 21-16 against the New York Rangers. He had almost 2 minutes more tonight, playing 23-04. So by far a season high in ice time. And of course, it did go to overtime and he had extra ice there. But nonetheless, Brady Tkachuk, great call on your standout. But you did leave me my number 1 choice, which I appreciate. His centerman tonight, Josh Norris, had a fantastic game. Not only the goal and the assist, mixing it up physically. Him and Garnet Hathaway felt like they were getting into it multiple times.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me jump in on this, because I noticed there was a little bit of an FU going on in the mix there between those two guys, and then all of a sudden Josh woke up physically and he started he didn't care who it was. It didn't have to be Hathaway. He was throwing the body around left and right. And that's a really good omen just for that shoulder generally going forward, right? He's obviously feeling like it's in a good place where he can do that and play a little bit more physical, because obviously that's a concern. It's always going to be a concern with him is the shoulder. So he was jumping into guys. He was throwing his body around against the boards. So I love that, Ross.
Yeah, and he was 63% in the dot tonight, went 10 for 16. Brady, by the way, 2 for 4. So you're close on that. Just took 4 draws. But Norris going 63% in the draw. He had a couple of big faceoffs wins too on the power play that allowed them offensive zone possession on the first few seconds of the power play. So thought that was important. Just a great game for Josh Norris and something to build off of here for the Ottawa Senators. Do you want to do 2, or with the OT loss, a little bad taste in your mouth, we could keep it at 1?
I thought we'd just leave it at 1. I don't even have a second one lined up. I guess if I had to.
Go if you had to, it'd be who?
I'd probably go Jake Batherson, just
Okay.
with the way he finished that goal. He had some great plays out there. I noticed that. I like that little line that they've got going there. It's Timmy, Batherson, and Giroux. And I think that there's some chemistry there. Me and Kevin Lee, bring back Lee on Twitter. You guys would know him. We were watching the game together, and I think we were both saying, it's nice that they were able to spread out Timmy and Brady and let them kind of carry their own lines, each of them. I think it just adds a little bit more balance to that forward group in general. And so, yeah, I like that line that they have going, and Batherson's kind of feeding off of it, I think.
Well, I got a stat for you then too. When that line was on the ice tonight at 5-on-5 in 11 minutes and 44 seconds, they had 17 shot attempts for and only 3 against. It's a good night at the office.
The eye test doesn't miss, Ross. When you're actually paying attention,
it did miss a little, because there is another SensCentral standout. You could almost do the pair of them, but Thomas Chabot and Nick Jensen tonight were awesome again.
Chabot is looking like
awesome.
a different.
You know what their shot attempts were on the ice when Chabot and Jensen were on the ice? You want to guess?
Give me the opponents 4, and I'll give you the Sens 4.
In 16 minutes and 9 seconds, the Flyers had 4 shot attempts when they were on the ice.
Okay, I'm going to say while they were on the ice, the Sens had 19 shots for.
31 shot attempts for.
Wow.
31 shot attempts for and only 4 against in 16 minutes. They were dominant. And then you add in that Nick Jensen finally drew a penalty on like the 5th high stick that he's taken this season. Chabot was dancing, had 2 assists in this game, played second most minutes behind Sanderson, had 25-47. Chabot had 3 hits in this game as well, was a plus player. And yeah, that's a great sign for the Senators going forward. Jake Sanderson needs to figure it out. There's no banter about Jake Sanderson right now online from Sens fans being like Team USA. Like, that's all quieted down. He has really struggled to his standards. And I mean, he's held to an extremely high standard. He's one of the highest paid players on the team. He has shown in the past that he can be the Ottawa Senators' best defenseman. But right now, he's their 4th best defenseman at the high end. Maybe 3rd. Yeah. Him and Zub together, they've struggled. They've struggled. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say 3rd, but yeah, for sure, yeah. Thomas Chabot's been their best defenseman for the start of this season at least, and
yeah, well, Jensen's right there too. Jensen's
thank goodness for them. Yeah, Jensen's been great.
He made the initial play where they end up scoring on the Norris goal to go up 3-2, where he gets the shot blocked, the guy's hobbling around, and immediately he sees that he's hobbling, bolts in, creates the puck, gets the extra possession back. And then ultimately they score on the cycle there. So doesn't get an assist, but he did everything but on that play. So really like what I saw from Nick Jensen and Thomas Chabot tonight. The Ottawa Senators lose in overtime, and it's November 14th. Here's another wild one for you. The first overtime loss the Sens got last season was January 20th against the Winnipeg Jets, a 2-1 loss.
I was thinking about that before the game even started today. I was like, the Sens don't have a loser point again this year. And last year it took them a long time. I didn't realize how long it was, though. Holy, that's way too long.
Way too long. But again, they did go to overtime a few times before that. They just win. And that's a better sign. But it was only their 4th overtime game of the year. They had one win. I'm not going to name them all off, but you remember the one around Christmas, though, where Timmy sniped one in overtime right past Sidney Crosby. That was the final one they got the victory. I want to talk about Timmy just for a quick moment right after the break, because Timmy was doing a lot of winning hockey behavior tonight. But first, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at PrizePicks. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. If you like daily fantasy sports, PrizePicks is something that you could check out, because at PrizePicks, it's where I go when I want real money sports action. They have over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Here's how you play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. You can go there, and even if you don't hit all your picks, you can still win, because PrizePicks invented the flex play. You can still cash out. You can even double your money if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks puts its members first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get my money, and it's quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So download the PrizePicks app and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today, use code LOCKEDONNHL, and $50 instantly. Boom! After you play your first $5 lineup, PrizePicks, run your game. All right, back for the postcast. We will listen into Travis Green, got his audio teed up, but Tim Stützle, Martian, the back checking of Tim Stützle in tonight's game was incredible. Some of the best that I've seen in his young career.
There was multiple times tonight where he ended up either, I don't know who gave it away or whatever happened, but he was the guy who was coming back on the play first, and he was stick checking guys and taking it right off their stick. He looked so good out there tonight, Ross. Like, it's amazing that he didn't make our standout list. I think he only had I think he ended up with 1 assist tonight in the end. But dude, Timmy is starting to really round out his game. And if we're going to talk about ice time and Brady, we talked about him having a season high. I'm willing to bet that Timmy probably had a similar result here with this being an overtime game, and just the trust in the coach. He led all forwards in ice time tonight. Tim Stützle did. So 24-30 on ice for Timmy. He's one of Travis Green's favorites, and there's a reason for that. He is all of a sudden figuring out that side of the puck.
His previous high this season was 23:09. So you're right, a minute and a half more. And what do you think about them? And I know they've won every overtime game except for this one so far this season. I'm still of the mind that Timmy should start overtime. I kind of like the idea of Brady coming on once the play is already developing, rather than they've started it the last few times with Norris, Tkachuk, and Sanderson.
My only counterpoint is he's not great in the faceoff dot, and possession is huge. So they use Norris to get possession. They get Brady out there, and they have Sanderson to use his legs. I like that start. Obviously, if you're talking like if you wanted to, you remember NHL hits, if you want a 3-on-3 optimal Ottawa Senators 3-on-3 team, you'd probably go Brady, Stützle, and then Sanderson on the back end just for the wheels. But I think the logic there is probably win the faceoff first of all, get possession, and then get Timmy on the ice after the fact. Because this year he's not been good in the faceoff dot. I think he's clicking around like 39% or something like that on the entire season. Might be even lower.
Worse.
Yeah, it's like 33.
Worse.
No, 29.
29.5 going into tonight, and then tonight he was 28. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so bad. Yeah, the German needs to work on the faceoffs. He's great at everything else. But yeah, dude, he was really good on the defensive side of the puck tonight. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Honestly, there was multiple times where I'm like, get him, Timmy, and he's doing it, right? He does it. He gets back there, gets his twig in there, turns it over, and away he goes.
Well, and then beyond that too, he gets his stick in, and then all of a sudden he's starting for offense right away.
Oh, he's such a good skater, right? He's
unreal.
He accelerates so quickly. He's like this is a weird comparison, but it makes no sense actually.
Well,
But
you compared him to host the last show. So what do you got for us this time?
well, he's like the forward version of Erik Karlsson, I would say. He's like where the way he accelerates with the puck, and once he has it, he's wheeling around guys. Like, you know, if two guys are standing still and Tim Stewart is one of them, and the puck's right there, and he gets the puck, he's see you later, because you're not gonna catch him. He's too quick.
Yeah. And by the way, I actually love that host of comparison. I wasn't me saying that it was another wild one, but I love the Stutzla takes. Did you concoct that one up in the shower like your DeBrincat takes from a couple of years ago?
Yeah, but I think my DeBrincat shower thoughts were like me thinking about how much I didn't like him.
Why he couldn't hit the side of a barn door?
Yeah, or him, you know, smiling after missing the net on like a blatant open net chance.
He said it. He didn't give effort. So they've got a team now that everyone is giving effort. Tonight, they just could not get a save, and they lose the game 5-4 in overtime. Let's take you to the head coach, Travis Green, following tonight's 5-4 OT loss to the Flyers.
I hope they don't try to bait him into slamming Ullmark. Ross, we can't hear this.
Not his best.
You can't hear this?
Oh, now we can.
Yeah, because you're talking over it, Martian. Wakey, wakey, old boy. Here we go.
Yeah, dude, it's not my fault. They can't hear it. No one can hear
That's
it.
so weird. I don't know why. Anyways, there's Travis Green, Senators head coach.
I think the only thing I heard out of that was not his best, and I'm assuming that was on.
Yeah. Chat's helping us out. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened. I got the audio playing here. Should we try it one more time or no? I'm curious what he said.
Sure.
Okay. If it doesn't work, the chat will let us know again.
No, it's still not working, buddy.
Okay, whatever. There's Travis Green. I'm not sure what happened. I did it the exact same time. Oh, no, people are hearing it. No, some aren't. Whatever. Travis Green, you can go find it on YouTube at Senators. Not sure what's going on here. But Martian, Pilsy, how do you think Pilsy would feel about this one?
You know, I think Pilsy is probably happy he has the night off on this one, because this is very, like, just one of those ones where it's not fun to try to break it down, because they deserve to win and they just didn't win. So, I mean, I think Pilsy's a good sport. He'd probably come at this from a positive angle, and that's what I'm trying to do here. It's just really hard when you're in the building and you got a great crowd tonight. I think it was a solid turnout. It looked like to me by eye test, but and energy wise as well, the fans were into it. And just losing this game, it was a tough pill to swallow, Ross, because truthfully, from the very start of the game, I thought that they were going to win. I was watching everything going on and the way that they were playing, and I said to myself, and I said to the people around me, I go, the Sens got this thing in the bag. Like the way they're playing right now, usually we're pretty good, Ross, like at knowing what we have about this team, you know. After that first period or within that first period, you can tell what you're going to get from them. And tonight it looked like they were clicking. And so for me, I was pretty confident all the way through that entire game, even late in the third period where I was like, oh, you know what? 4-3, it's getting a little too close for comfort. But that ultimately, it was a bit of a tough pinch from Clevin there, I think. That was the fourth goal, I believe.
Yeah, it was. And that's what pissed me off too, because they had just given up the one. So it's even more critical to play tight defensive hockey.
They got a little bit too ahead of themselves, I feel like. I bet you that they were saying the same thing on the bench. They were like, we got them, boys. Like, let's just keep going the way we're going here. Like, overconfident almost maybe a little bit. And it just came back to bite them. And you can't do that in this league. You can't do that in the NHL. You can't do that against the John Tortorella team. I noticed, Philly started really stretching the ice out when it was 4-2. Third period, and all of a sudden you see Philly start blowing the zone early, long stretch passes. They're looking for odd man rushes, and it worked.
Not much more you can say than that. The Ottawa Senators fight hard, but fall 5-4 in overtime to the Flyers. And now that you lose games against teams you should win, well, now you got to win games against teams that are at the top of the standings. You've got a murderer's row coming into the town starting next week. And first, you got to go to a house of horrors. I don't know when the last time the Sens won in Carolina. Was it like the Mark Stone overtime goal during the Hamburglar run? Like, I can't recall the last time the Senators were able to get an opportunity in Carolina. So they've got to do it. And we asked the question, over 300 responses, 53% say Forsberg should start that game in Carolina. Is there a part of you that understands Forsy's now gone already a week since his last game? You got to get him in, or no?
Yeah, no, I understand both sides of this one, and I don't have a very strong opinion one way or another, other than that I would like them to see, throw it back to Allmark just to show him that, hey, it's still your net. Like, it's let's get over that last game and not worry too much about it. Let's get him right back in the mix and hopefully get him a win, and so he can forget about what just happened here, because otherwise he's sitting on it for 5 days. And, you got to think about how crappy you played and how bad you let the team down for 5 days. And then who knows, like, what happens if they put Forsberg in there and he plays too good again and the Sens pull out a win against Carolina. All of a sudden, here's a question for you, Ross. And me and Kevin Lee were talking about this during the game tonight. At what point, how well does Forsberg have to play before you start talking about contract extensions for next season for him? Is he playing that well where somebody else is going to probably take it? I mean, he's going to get picked up by somebody the way he's playing right now. He's already got 2 shutouts. That's
something you can figure out after the season there's no rush. The next guy they got to deal with is Claude Giroux. The last time the Sens won in Carolina was December 2021. Josh Norris had the game winner with 6 minutes left in the third period.
Nice.
And to tell you how long ago that was, Alex Formanton had 2 goals for the Sens that night.
Yeah, and Norris has had 2 shoulder surgeries since then.
Yeah, seriously. But hey, he looked great tonight. So there is good signs. And hey, the stat still holds up when you get that one loser point, because the Sens are now 30-15-4 when all of Tim Stützle, Josh Norris, and Shane Pinto play. Obviously, we'd be singing a different tune if Pinto's shot goes in overtime, but -2 on the night, and he's still trying to get his legs back, I think, after missing 8 straight games. But now he's had back-to-back games in the lineup, so hopefully we see a great Shane Pinto performance on Saturday. Martian, any final thoughts on today's show?
Yeah, I think that, this was the kind of game that Sens could have won, should have won. The way they played was great. I enjoyed myself while in the barn tonight at this one. Just too bad that they couldn't pull it off. And these are the kind of games they're going to need to figure out going forward. Win the ones you're supposed to, and occasionally win ones you're not supposed to. They're not really doing that yet. But this was a good game overall, I think, for the team. Allmark kind of shit the bed.
And to answer the chat, yes, it was Anton Forsberg in goal the last time the Sens won in Carolina. He made 47 saves. The Sens got outshot 49-20 in that game, but got a 3-2 win. That's the way Carolina plays. They are putting everything on net. The Senators are now 8-7-1 in a 3-way tie with the Tampa Bay Lightning and Buffalo Sabres in the division, a tie for the final wild card spot. We are inching closer to U.S. Thanksgiving. It's going to be an incredibly important end of the month, but the Senators get a point in a game they deserve 2, which you can say is an improvement on some other games where they blew in the third period and didn't get any points. So it's a I think I said a bronze lining. Silver's giving them too much credit there, but you got to build off of this and try to replicate the performance, because analytically, they deserve to win this game. Eye test, they deserve to win this game. Special teams was better. 5-on-5 was better. Everything except some untimely errors in the defensive zone, and even worse, miscues by the Senators goalie. Ivan Fedotov, unreal in overtime. That's Avon Pinto. You got to circle that if you're a Flyers fan and say, holy, that guy is unreal. And he'd been struggling this year, but played well in the last two. I got a Flyers friend buddy at work who texted me after the game saying the Flyers had no business winning that game. So more efforts like that and more wins will come. Unfortunately, tonight, it was a 5-4 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. Kenzie Lalonde will join Locked On Senators tomorrow. Looking forward to catching up with a friend of the show after calling that Toronto Sens game on Tuesday. She was fantastic in that.
She was so good, man. I was
awesome.
impressed. Yeah, I've listened to her cover a couple of PWHL games, but she was so good on the NHL call. So kudos to her. Stick taps.
Yeah, big stick tap. So looking forward to chatting with her tomorrow. We'll have a preview of the game against Carolina, and then we'll see you again in the postcast, the Saturday night. I really want to hear Danger Flutes, but for tonight, we say goodbye. Thanks so much for everyone venting, vibing, no matter what. We'll be here right after each and every Ottawa Senators game. Thank you to the Glebe Central Pub and everybody in the chat. For Lalim's Martian, I'm Ross Levitan. You can find our socials below. This has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Let's get some GSGs in the chat. I know it's disappointing, but the Senators do earn a point, and a critical one at that, because they're tied right now with Tampa and Buffalo, who both won tonight. So imagine where we'd be psychologically if the Senators had 0. Appreciate everybody for being a part of the show. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.